I thought I was dating someone who was just really close with their family, but something just felt off that I couldn't really explain. It looked like love and support on the outside, but it didn't feel that way to me. It felt like they were just trying to take me in to their system, like they just wanted me to kind of fit in this mold or play this role that they had already assigned. It was really strange. In the beginning, I was always welcomed and I was always being invited over to family dinners and meeting the rest of his family through holiday gatherings and birthday celebrations. And I just thought, wow, this is really nice. His family is really close. He has all these aunts and uncles that live close by. Like, everybody's always coming together. Like, this feels really nice. But then there were these subtle things that just didn't really sit right with me. Like the feeling like I was constantly being evaluated, like I needed to be brought out of my shell more, like I was too shy, like I was being labeled as all these things that I didn't really identify as. Like, I might be introverted and I might not be the life of the party when it comes to like these large gatherings, but I don't identify as a shy individual. Like, if you engage me in conversation, I don't hold back. Like, I'm happy to share, anything about my life, but it just, I don't know. It just felt like they didn't really have an interest in getting to know the real me for who I was, because his parents and everyone just had this preconceived idea of who I was already, without actually getting to know the real me at all. It almost felt like, there was something wrong with me for not choosing to fit in with the rest of the family in the way that they expected. And at the same time, it felt like my own family dynamic was being quietly criticized. Like, just because my parents weren't together means that, I come from like this horrible household, this horrible upbringing. Like, it just felt like a lot of labels were being attached to things. And never out loud, like they never verbalized that they took pity on me, but it was just kind of the energy that I felt when I was in a room with his family. And over time, it felt like I was becoming less of a part of something and more like someone who just needed to fit in to the family system. Like, I was just feeling really criticized, like I constantly needed to manage myself so that way I would be able to fit in and not go against the grain too much. When a family is really enmeshed like that, I think that sometimes individuality can feel like a threat to some people. It feels like a rejection of their own family system. If you have one person who kind of goes against the grain or speaks their mind about something or has a different opinion than the rest of the group. But that doesn't necessarily mean that you're doing something wrong. I don't know. Have you ever experienced something like this in a relationship where you just kind of felt like you didn't quite fit in with the rest of the family system and you couldn't quite put your finger on why? Because to the outside world, this seems like the perfect family. And so naturally you can get labeled as the problem pretty easily. I'm making this video to reach out and see if anybody else has ever felt this way, because it's a really confusing place to be in. Like, constantly being adjusted by the other person and saying, oh, well, if you would just do this or just do that. If you bring up an opinion that's different, you get kind of labeled as, rude or ungrateful, or you're just kind of dismissed as being too much or making a big deal out of something. And it was just constantly like my observations would just get kind of ignored. And so over time, I just got really good at silencing myself because I just wanted to keep the peace and I didn't want there to be any conflict. And then I got labeled as shy. And then I thought, well, am I shy or am I just kind of shutting down? Because there's a difference. Have you ever been in a relationship where it looked healthy from the outside, but it didn't feel that way to you? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your story.